y'all, I've got a 130-page book in my hand of everything it takes to do a Hardie conversion. I wanted to take a little bit of time to show you, when you buy a Hardie conversion for your house, what everything it is that we have to do to make sure it operates the way it's supposed to make sure you never have problems. Most importantly, make sure your warranty is still valid. So follow along, I'll show you all the different parts. All the siding's off, everything's wrapped. We're loosely dried in right now, but if you see, everything came off this wall. When we do siding, we don't just do siding. When you're buying a siding conversion, it's more than just the siding, and a lot of people forget this. Previously, it was probably an old 2x4, maybe brick mold, some sort of wood trim that this old siding was tied up into. What we do is, while we're here, we rip that out and we come back with an inch thick of solid concrete. So once the guys get back from lunch, what they'll start doing is putting this trim all on the corners and around all of these windows. So it's a lot more than just siding. Hardie works together as a whole system. So we've got house wrap so far, now we've got all the trim, but we've got a lot more to do. So at this point, we've got our house wrap, we've got our window trim, we've got our corners, we've got our flashing on top of all of our trim. We should be good to lay siding, but that's not the case. Hardie is a phenomenal product, absolutely phenomenal product at shedding water. The problem is they have very, very strict requirements about where you can put it. We are not allowed to put James Hardie siding within 6 inches of soft ground, which this is. And the reason being is, as this ground gets wet and water bounces up, this bottom of this board can stay wet and it'll start to crumble. So we can't put this piece of siding here. So what we have to do in that instance is, this is a PVC board, 100% PVC. This is a 6-inch board. What this will do is, we will put this board around the whole bottom, and that same piece of flashing we were talking about, that Z flashing, will sit right on top of this. After that, now we can run this siding up all the way up the wall. What that gets you is not only making sure your warranty is still valid with Hardie, but knowing that your product's not going to fail. We want you to spend the money once and be done. I don't want you having to worry about your siding anymore. This is a phenomenal product when installed right. So that's our commitment. We're always going to install it right. So behind me is a wall that we have just finished up. And you see all these joints. The only thing left for us to do on this wall is paint it. We don't even have to caulk these joints. And you wonder why. People always ask why. And it's because of this stuff right here. What this is called is bearskin flashing. What this does is, we have one of these behind every single one of these joints. Main reason for this is, as water comes down, water's going to flow down this wall. We're actually going to let it go inside this joint. Caulk is meant to protect water from going in. When you hear caulk, you need to hear maintenance. We don't want maintenance. So what happens is, water rolls down, it goes into this crack, hits this piece of flashing. Now this flashing overlaps the bottom piece of siding right here, comes down this crack, rolls off, and goes away. It is Hardie's by far most recommended way to do it. We are allowed to caulk this if it's primed siding. Now when we do a Color Plus siding, we absolutely have to do this. So while you are able to caulk it, nobody wants to do that. It's just more maintenance. So do it the right way. Joint flashing. Every single joint you see on this house, we have it. With anything in this world, having the right tools makes the job go so much easier. We here at Bluff City Exteriors, all we do is exteriors. We do siding, James Hardie siding specifically, all day, every day, and having the right tools is absolutely critical. So what you see here is a gecko gauge. This is a tool made specifically for James Hardie. We can set it for the proper exposures. If you see, when I took this thing out, this board moves. So we want to make sure all of these boards stay level. So what we get to do is, we get to slide this up, lock it in, and now we know this board is set perfect. We have a perfect exposure. Both of them are set the exact same, and we're going to maintain level throughout the whole way. It allows us to move a whole lot quicker, and the end product is perfect. That's our goal. We don't want corners not matching up. You see a lot of guys trying to hold the board and this and that. What happens is, you end up missing studs. So what we have here is, we can have one guy on the ground cutting, one guy locks his gecko gauges in. Now he's got both hands to move around. He can find his studs, and he can make sure that this board is installed perfect. We don't want misnailed. That's what happens when you miss a stud. This board 2, 3, 4 years down the road, it's gonna fall off the house. We don't want that happening. So having the right tools makes all the difference. So you may ask, Mitchell, is it really that important to do it right? Like, everyone's always done it this way. Let me show you the penalty of doing it wrong. These are 4 studs holding up this side of the house. We've got 4 up here. We've got like 1.5 down here. What's happened is the lack of flashing up here. The previous siding was just held together by all this caulk. What happens is it has cracked, water has gotten in, and it has rotted out all of these 2x4s. So we're gonna have to come back in. We're gonna have to get these sturdy, get them good. We'll flash it right, get the siding up, and this will never be a problem for them again. Yeah, so we talked about the window trim. Here's what it looks like when it's done. So we've got the window trim all the way around. We've got the siding. We've left a proper gap here so we can fill this with caulk. And here's that flashing on top with the gap here on top. So obviously this is under the soffit. It's not gonna get much water, but we're gonna flash it anyway. So you can imagine this out on the outside of a house, water's coming down, hits this metal, rolls off, no problems. I want to show you something else while we're here. How do we handle your lights? How do we handle your outlets? Stuff like that. What we do here is we cut in a block, flash the top, and your light can get mounted right onto there. So this really waterproofs it, and it makes it to where if you ever have to work on this box for whatever reason, you don't have to ruin your siding. We can just pull this block out, fix the wiring behind it, and install a new block. So this is the way Hardie says to do it. This is the right way to do it, so that's the way we're doing it. What you see above me is the effects of over-relying on paint and caulk. So this house is protected with a drip cap, just like this. A lot of houses we see have this. Now this is a PVC one. Most of the older homes have a wood one. And what we see a lot of people do is they'll do Hardie, and then they'll just put it with a PVC drip cap and caulk it. Well, we've already talked about that. That is a big no-no in Hardie's eyes. So what we're gonna do is we will end up having to replace this board, take off the siding, and we will put this flashing right over top. So you can imagine once this board's replaced, once we have the flashing here, once we have the siding here, we will never, ever, 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 ever see that problem ever again. It's just the little things that the manufacturers know how to make this product last forever. So make sure you're choosing somebody that knows that 130-page book, so you don't spend all your money and then see this pop up in a few years later. All right, let me recap. When we do a siding conversion, here's everything that happens. We're gonna use the right tools. We're gonna take all the siding off the wall safely. We're gonna wrap it with house wrap. That's gonna just protect your sheathing from getting wet. We're gonna replace your corners. We're gonna place your window trim, so all of it's uniform and works well together. We're gonna flash everywhere that has a flat top. We're gonna flash it with metal. Absolutely, we're not relying on caulk to protect your house. Then we're gonna start laying siding. Siding goes up, except we can't put it 6 inches within the soft dirt. So we're gonna do PVC all along. Anywhere there's gonna be a clearance issue, we're using PVC. Siding goes up the walls, we're flashing every single joint. We're gonna work it all the way up the wall. Then you think we're done. Still gotta paint it, still gotta paint it. Best part about Hardie, their warranty's still valid for 180 days unpainted. It's a phenomenal product. It's really, really important to make sure you have a painter that also knows all the code requirements of Hardie. That's why we like to do the whole project for you. We're gonna do the siding, we're gonna do the painting, we're gonna do it all for you to make sure the finished product operates and works the exact same way that the manufacturer, James Hardie, has designed it to work. It's super stress-free, it's super seamless. We do this each and every day, all day. Give us a call, we'd love to help you.